So let's talk about this whole strange thing that's going on with Charlie Kirk's assassination. Let's start out with George Zinn and how he is the one that was yelling, I shot him, after Charlie Kirk was shot. He said, I shot him, shoot me, shoot me. All those things was very strange when it first happened. They take him in, whatnot. Some articles say that they obtain a search warrant. Some articles say that he gave consent. But regardless, the fact is, they went through his phone and they found SA images of kids. He openly admitted that age 5 and 12 is his preference and that he gets aroused. They also found about 20 images of kids in provocative poses. They just put it like that. He also ended up admitting that he was yelling, that he's the one that did it because he was distracting authorities from the actual shooter. Other reports have came up as well that George Zinn has been a political activist agitator, that he is known through Utah. He's been arrested for violent protesting against the Utah Inland Port Authorities. He's been one of the guys that emailed Utah Salt Lake City Marathon talking about he was going to place a bomb at the finishing line. So George Zinn is not new to this. He's been an active political activist since the 1980s. Now, it is very strange that, to me, my opinion, is that it's very strange that when it did go down, and he was the first one to yell that he did it, he did everything he could to distract the authorities from the actual shooter. After they take him in, they realize it wasn't him. He confessed that it wasn't him, that he just did it because he wanted the actual shooter to get away. He openly admits what is his age preference when it comes to little kids. He openly admits that he's aroused to SA images and provocative poses by little kids. That itself is very strange. Now, let's move on to Lance Twiggs. Lance Twiggs is Tyler Robertson's boyfriend / roommate. An unidentified person told reporters that Lance is known as the black sheep of the family. The same person talked about that even though they're not aware of the parents or the family's political beliefs or what political sides they lean on, it is known that Lance Twiggs hates conservatives and Christians. Neighbors that lived around Tyler Robertson and Lance Twiggs would notice out-of-state license plates coming in and out of that house for the past week before this happened. And the strange things about this relationship and the text messages that came out between Lance and Tyler, they don't seem real. They seem like a play. The details of the crime, the details of the weapon, I don't know, just the text message just doesn't seem right. If you read the text messages that are being published, it just does not seem right. The other thing that really tripped me out is that Tyler ends up calling Lance my love in one of his messages. ABC, Matt Gutman, as he's reporting this and he's reporting the text messages, he ends up reporting that this is a portrait of an intimate relationship. He says more than that, but if you go ahead and listen to it, or you go ahead and read what he said, He's trying to sell you a love story of two gay men fighting for a cause. That's just my take. So go ahead and read what he said, or go ahead and listen to what he says about these text messages and how he describes a portrait of an intimate relationship between these two guys. Don't know what the media is thinking. Don't know what that guy was thinking. But this is not a passion of, it's not a crime of passion. It's a sadistic crime where everybody got to see it, got to witness. The reason why I'm talking about them three is because the way it went down is very strange between George Zinn, where he's being charged, his history, what he has admitted, and how he was one of them yelling, I shot him right after it happened, like if he was waiting for that moment. Then you go to Tyler and Lance. The text messages between them is just might as well broadcasted to the world what you did, where's the gun. And the text message itself is just weird. I guess you just got to read it yourself. But now that the FBI is investigating the armed queers, which have actually stated that they're broadcasting to armed trans to fight a good cause, even though it's not known that they're actually training trans to be armed and to take up arms and to go ahead and take to the streets. But they are promoting that we are willing to train trans. We are willing to serve the trans community. I know it's just not me, but we have to assume that the history of George Zinn, especially when it comes to his disgustingness, kinkiness stuff, and then the two lovers, can we just assume, is it safe to assume that they all met on online platforms that promote the kind of things that they're into? I mean, that is safe to say, right? And what the FBI is saying, and it's starting to come out, is that there is prior knowledge of what was going to happen. Like that guy that was cheering right after Charlie Kirk got shot. Everybody was fearing. If I was in that crowd, I'll be fearing. I'll be on the floor because I don't know if it's a mass shooting. I don't know if everybody's getting shot. I don't know if one person just got shot. I don't know anything. I just know that I don't want to get shot. But that guy that popped up and started cheering, to me, it seemed like he knew what was going on. He knew that he was not the target. He knew that he was at a harm's way, that he was not going to be in any type of danger because he was the only one that popped up and started cheering with no fear of another shot being shot at the crowd or whoever at that moment, that nobody really knew, only that Charlie Kirk got shot. So all those things is very strange to me. I'm going to go on to read what they're talking about when it comes down to these investigations on these platforms, because everything about it seems very strange. And I see people trying to put things together, trying to put the timestamps together. And that is all good, because if the media is not going to do it, if they're not going to do their job and try to do their journalist jobs, which is investigate, well, the people will do that. And it's very interesting of the things that they're coming up with. But not only that, there's plenty of videos, people pointing different things. I think, and most likely as time goes on, obviously there's going to be more updates about all this. And I really want to know what's going on with these platforms, these online groups that are going to be investigated, because they're starting to link up dark money to these sites. The Arms Queer group website actually got scrubbed off. It doesn't exist no more. So that is pretty strange. The whole thing about Charlie Kirk is pretty strange. Or George Zinn, strange himself. The whole relationship between the trans and Tyler, very odd. License plates, out of state license plates, showing up before this whole thing happened, very odd. So there's a lot of questions and little answers. So they just give us some time and see what else comes up. But as I'm seeing, the people are bringing up more questions than the actual media is. They're pointing out more things than the actual media is. And what I find it very disgusting is that Matt Gutman tried to sell this tragedy as a love story between two gay men. That's just my point of view. That's how I'm looking at it. But those are the updates. So all of it just seems very strange. They're talking about that there's money, dark money, going into these websites, into NGOs that are coming from adversary countries. China was mentioned. But I'm going to read these articles. I'm going to try to see what else comes up. And I'm sure to talk about this because this whole thing is very strange.